Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, here trying to, make the world seem a little more normal. Does it ever happen? God, no, we try, but it just doesn't happen. But anyway, as always, I bring a guest to help me on this epic quest, and I don't think anybody's gonna help this quest at all. But yeah, we're here. And my guest today is Andrew Lewis. I basically describe him as a history and paranormal buff with a few experiences. So let's just have a fun convo here and get going. How's it going tonight, Andrew?
It's going well, thank you. How are you?
It's been a busy day, but I'm happy to talk some paranormal and some history even. But first question like this. Everybody in this show is, what got you into the paranormal?
Yeah, what got me into it is I think the history parlayed into the paranormal. So, from a very young age, I was very into history, ancient cultures, Greece and Egypt, which obviously have very strong mythological ties, and that kind of is just has snowballed into everything paranormal, mythical, and weird.
It's very similar to my own path of getting into the paranormal. You know, when your librarian knows to set aside a book coming in elementary school because it's about all the ghosts of the presidents being in the White House,
Right.
you know you're kind of there. You know you're kind of at that point in life where it's okay. People already know I'm into this crap, and I'm in like fourth grade, but okay.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
nothing wrong with that at all, folks. Get into it young, kids. I would encourage it. But since you had some experiences, we'll jump into those first. You can start off with whichever one you want to, but
Sure. The one is less spooky than the other. It has to involve the death of a pet, so just a heads up there. But
oh,
I'm probably between 10 15 years ago, sitting in my family home. The dog had not been doing well. He'd been sick for a while, and he was laying behind the couch. And I had a feeling come over me. It was just shudders and chills. And then I got up within 5 minutes of that and checked, and he had gone. So just kind of kind of solidifies the proof to me that yes, the soul is a tangible thing, and I believe that that shutter was his soul leaving, and it was passing through me. So
that's honestly, I think you're the first person to ever had with an experience like that with the death of a pet, where it's actually you can feel it. Like, I mean, I'm sure you're not the only person in the world to experience that by
sure,
far. I'm sure, but you're the first one to bring it to the show, so kudos. I like virgins in this show, but it's and I can believe I mean I literally had a pet put down. I had a dog put down in front of me a couple years ago. He was only 17 weeks old, but
oh,
he was born with misshaped kidneys, so uh, it had to happen. It was either that or he was going to suffer for Lord knows how much longer in pain every day and not able to eat or not really able to eat or process things right. So
sure.
it's we did what we had to do, but it literally passed away at the table right in front of me after I got the shot, and I didn't feel anything personally, but I was also so grief stricken at that moment that it's possible I could have just not noticed. And plus, my wife and kids were in the room, so who knows where the spirit went? It could have went in any direction. But it's I can believe it because it's a powerful thing when a pet dies, especially one that's loved. It's a very powerful thing, and it really does tear you apart. So I mean, but I almost feel like that would be a comfort in a way because you know that spirit moved on rather than just not feeling anything and just being like, okay, do animals have spirits? Which any listener of the show knows they damn well do because we've had plenty of pet psychics on here. It's always a favorite topic of mine. I've had a few of those on. They're really great guests always. But and that's I mean that's different. I've no, a pet spirit story. I freaking love it.
Yeah, like I said, it's not long, but there was a physical sensation in that moment. I'm like, it was him leaving. You could just, I just knew in that moment. And like I said, less than 5 minutes later, I checked and he had passed. So
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind that's what happened.
Well, you know what they say. All dogs go to heaven.
Yeah.
It has to be true. I can't imagine any dog go anywhere else. Go if you believe in heaven. I mean, all dogs go. All their. Let me actually know. A lot of their spirits still roam the earth, from what I've been told. So,
He went somewhere that wasn't in his body, so
well, hopefully less pain and peace. But that's all we can hope for. So, what was this second experience you had?
yeah, story 2, without doxing my family, there is a site/attraction down where my family is from, and it's a haunted tunnel. There was an accident between a school bus and a fuel truck, and they collided, and there was a great number of fatalities there. And now they go ahead, they put a little maze in this tunnel that you walk through, and they say that uh, if you feel a cold sensation, you feel something holding you, it's one of those spirits of the children or somebody that passed away grabbing on, and you lead them out of the tunnel. And this was much longer ago, probably 18 to 20-ish years now. But I still remember the sensation of feeling like somebody had grabbed my arm, and once we left the tunnel, that sensation was gone. So, could it have been, uh, in my head? Certainly, but with the instance later on in life with the dog, I would like to imagine, yes, it was probably a spirit holding on and trying to get out.
Well, that it's funny. There's a lot of those tunnels. There's a lot of those tunnels and a lot of those bridges all throughout the United States.
Hmm.
I know the bridges are commonly called crybaby bridges because of the old wives' tale about babies being killed on them, but or well, thrown off them, be
Right.
killed is more the terminology. But it's I mean that right there, a bus going into a fuel truck is like something out of a movie, but it's
Exactly.
like you wouldn't almost think would ever happen in real life, but I mean, it's bound to happen eventually at some point. I'm sure it's not uncommon for these things to be on the road together. So, but it's just, I mean, that's horrible, horrible. I mean, and yeah, I mean, places like that, mass death locations are always. I mean, look at Gettysburg. Look at, I've heard the concentration camps in Germany are very,
Hmm.
very full of spirits. So, any place where there's mass death, there's always going to be a lot of spirits. You know what though? That's got me thinking. I've never heard about anybody going to Jonestown to do investigations there. I, I mean, I don't believe they're still active there. So I mean, it's just kind of weird that I haven't heard about anybody going there. Seems like it'd be a prime place to get some readings, but I could be wrong. But it's it just that made me think. It just made me think. I'm like, why have I never heard of that? It's a mass death. So
Right.
I don't know. It's just something that came across the old noggin there. But well, I mean, yeah, that's tragic, and I mean, I have no doubt you felt something because I'm sure spirits are all over that tunnel. Like
Hmm.
I'm sure, and children's spirits seem to get confused a lot more than adult spirits do, and they don't know where to go or what to do when that happens. It's such a quick thing usually too that just, especially in that circumstance, it's a quick death, and the spirits left confused, like they don't believe they're dead even usually most of the time. They think they're still supposed to be walking the earth, but
Yeah, it makes you think, though. I mean, that event was not recent at the time of visiting it and is less recent now. So for those spirits to linger there for so long is kind of interesting. You'd think if people are regularly coming through there, even just every year around Halloween, they'd be eventually you'd get them all out of there. But
I mean, one or two might have attached themselves to a visitor and followed them home, but it's highly likely. But for a lot of them, I think it's just it's kind of their home. It's kind of like a spirit
sure,
home for them. I would assume. I mean, I am for one going to say I do not speak for spirits. I do not understand spirits fully enough to say I do. So not to say I know exactly what I'm talking about, folks, but it's logical. It's logical that they would think that's where their spirits are supposed to reside and that they would stay there. And some of the spirits probably hope they can go back to life if they stay there long enough. Who knows? I mean, children spirits. I mean, yes, they say reincarnation is real and that we go through multiple bodies. I think I just got told I'm on like my 26th or 56th like freaking trip around this earth. Some 6 in it. I really don't know what the number was, but I was told I've been out on this earth a lot of times and not on this earth some of those times as well, but we'll get into that in a minute. But so I mean, it's curious to me that this is it actually just kind of like make it a little more crazy about why they're still there. Like you would think their spirits would have experience with death. Okay, that just opened up a whole nother wormhole on me, and
Exactly.
it's gonna.
But it brings the notion what makes a ghost or what makes a spirit. Is it the soul that's trapped there? Is it an echo of the past? Like some people say, like it's just an echo, like it's just bound to repeat itself and be there that entire time. It's not truly the spirit there. It's just, like I said, it's an echo, like a shadow. So it brings to question what really is the phenomenon, or is there multiple phenomena? We all just interpret it the same way. We just put it under this blanket term of ghost, but there is the spiritual factor, or there is the echo of time factor, or there's tons of possibilities that we just don't know yet.
I mean, there are, of course, there are multiple phenomenons out there, and but a lot of it is ghost. I mean, yeah, there are subcategories to ghost. Everybody knows that. It's
Yeah,
very possible, but who knows? I mean, a lot ghosts have a huge presence on this earth. I mean, there's more of them than there are alive people. That's for damn sure.
sure.
And from what I've been told, a lot of them just like to wander and like go walk the earth in a way. So, I mean, I was even told by a meme at one point that because I know I live in a haunted residence, I live in a possessed residence, and I know that I have a female and a male ghost here, a married couple, and apparently two dog spirits. I found out a month ago or so, but I was also told in the past that there are multiple wandering spirits who just like stop by and like kind of hang out here sometimes. And there was a couple that night that were chilling in the garage with me back when I used to record in my garage. Thank God I don't, because it's probably freezing in there right now. But uh, it's so I mean, yeah, it's spirit. The spirit world is a interesting theory. I mean, well, I guess it's a kind of a good opener right there. Even what in all your studies, what is your beliefs on what happens after you die?
I think it's tricky, right? I think there is, again, I was raised Christian. I question some of the beliefs. I mean, I guess I question all the beliefs, but the things that I have held to, I believe there is an afterlife. I don't know that reincarnation or recycling of souls is necessarily a thing, but I think the spirit that we have after we die does pass onto some place, whether or not that be heaven, hell, purgatory, Hades, any of that. I couldn't tell you what it is, but I do believe that there is an existence after this life for our spirits. So,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believe it's well, personally, I don't believe in heaven or hell. I think that's all made up bullshit. I believe there is a type of heaven out there that is just another dimension, and that
sure.
I'm a full believer in reincarnation because I've heard so many stories that prove it, and I've just talked about it with some with 200. I talked about it with like I've had 200 plus guests, and I've talked about it with at least three-quarters of them, if not more. So I fully believe that we do come back at least once or twice when we die. What we come back as, or what species we come back as, is a whole nother topic and debate. But
Sure.
I fully believe we come back because it just makes sense. I mean, I just I just had a live reading done on this show on Monday night with one of my previous guests for an hour and 15 minutes. It was interesting to say the least. But past lives, she read two of my past lives, and they lined up with like things that she wouldn't know about me because she's not a friend, or I mean, we are kind of friends now, but she is not like a friend who's known me for years that can tell you things about me. She was just a guest that happened to I get along with. So
Sure.
it's
Like based on what though? What kind of things were said?
uh well, I mean, in one of the past lives, I was a she used the term Eskimo, but Inuit shaman, whatever you want to
Sure.
call it. Um, I was an Inuit shaman in the 1800 in the late 1700s, early 1800s, somewhere around there, and I was a shaman of a village, and it kind of lines up with my interest in the paranormal now in a way. And
Hmm.
it's not something I ever would have pictured myself as in the past life as a shaman, but or even being Inuit. But I guess I mean spirits can go in any body, so it doesn't really make a difference. You're not going to follow the same race or same species throughout your whole life, so I don't know why I was thrown by that even, but so basically, I mean, to me, it's just like that shows I have a spiritual side that I've been told I have empathic abilities I have yet to unlock. So that makes sense if I was that in a past life, because then those my spirit carries those abilities with it. That would make sense to me. because I mean, your abilities change for each human body you have to some degree, but there's always some. Usually, if someone is a medium or psychic, they warn all their lives. Like they can carry that throughout the generations with them. Same with same with witches, or same with any paranormal profession. Basically, you carry that through. I mean, when you unlock it in your life, changes each life, I'm sure. But
Sure.
you can, I'm sure some lives you have it from childhood, and some lives you don't unlock it until you're a retiree, a senior citizen. Like just you had a busy life and you didn't have time to really look into yourself. But so, and I mean, the other one was a past life in Middle East somewhere. She couldn't specify where exactly, but somewhere in the Middle East, and it was in the 1400s, somewhere around there. And apparently, in that life, met I met the spirit version of the spirit form, the spirit. Well, the body of the spirit of my wife was in at that point, because apparently we were lovers in the past life, many centuries ago, and we don't fight each other every life, that's for sure, she said, but we happen to fight each other in that life first, and then we fight each other again this life, however many lives that may have been since then, at least, I'd say at least 10, 11, maybe even more, depending on how young people died back then. But it could have been 30 lives by now, who knows?
Right.
But apparently we fight each other back then too. And I mean, my wife wasn't with me. She wasn't in the room with me at the time I was doing that. So
Hmm.
she just sensed it. But so, I mean, that to me is proof of past lives in a way. I mean, I believed them before I got that reading by far. I've heard enough stories of the Indian girl in India who, when she kept talking about a house she lived in previously, even though she was only like 6 or 7,
Right. And they
and
took
then
her back, and she knew everything.
she knew everything. She recognized her husband from that life and
Hmm.
could tell him things that only they would know. Like, so I mean, that's just one example. There's a lot more too. I mean, I can keep naming them, but I don't feel the need to at this point.
Oh,
But
sure.
it's
I was
just
just curious because that's not exactly my wheelhouse. Obviously, I am aware of those ideas, and I don't know what's true. Maybe the spirit gets popped out after we die, goes into the cosmic soup for a little bit, spins around, and gets shot back out into a new body. That's very well a possibility. But I was just curious what
the
instances were said that made you so confident in that.
yeah. I mean, I get it. I get it. And I mean, the funny thing to me is the way I describe it always is there's a giant DMV in the sky, and you basically go there and wait for your ticket to be pulled.
That's true. Yeah, that
So
very well could be true.
that always makes mediums and psychics slap their asses off when I say that. That's how I describe it as. But still, it's just to me that's kind of what I see it as. Is we definitely are just wait up there waiting, and maybe some say there are goals, some say there aren't goals that you have to complete to move on past reincarnation to
Right.
another dimension. But who really knows? I mean, that's the thing. There could be, there couldn't be. I mean, it will kind of, if there is some kind of presence out there, I don't like the word God, but if there is some kind of presence out there, whether it would be just the universe itself being omniscient and fully aware, or some extraterrestrial God, ultra-terrestrial deity that people have been worshiping since the beginning of time and just didn't know it. Maybe they would want some kind of order. Maybe they would want you to learn a lesson in your many lives until you get to the point where you could go to this other dimension world where everything's perfect and you don't have to worry about anything. Like it's possible in my mind. It's possible.
Sure. I mean, we can't
But
discount that because we obviously, yeah, we don't know. But that's the fun part is trying to figure it out, right?
exactly. I mean, it's always fun just trying to figure it out and find out where. Well, the answer, trying to find out the answers to life itself are. I've known people that have worked at it for 70 years and they still don't have a clue. So
Right.
I don't fret finding the answers too much. It'd be a waste of time. But I will always keep looking and I hope that something does pop up in my lifetime. But I kind of doubt it most times. But so let's hear about your third experience. 'Cause I'm kind of dying to get into this.
Oh, yeah. This one's a little bit weird. Again, it's spiritual linked. I think maybe I mentioned the UFO one. We can come back to that, but we're on the topic of spirits, so let's stay there. Um, Again, childhood home, uh, sitting on my bed, had finished playing Xbox for the evening, but everything was off. TV was off, Xbox was off, all the electronics were off. And I just hear this guttural language come out of the speakers loudly, like enough to make me jump, and went for about 2 minutes and then just stopped. All the electronics were off, but it was enough to, you know, obviously start me like, what's going on? Because there shouldn't have been anything coming through. It's not like it was old technology where there would be like a fault in it. It was all updated. We're talking Xbox 360 era, so but
Yeah.
it was speaking in a language I had never heard, and it was not on that I'd recognized. I've heard Arabic, I've heard Latin, I've heard Romance languages. It was something I had never encountered.
Which would scare the living fuck out of me, and I don't think I'd be able to sleep in that room that night. I really
Right,
don't think I would. I would just be out that door like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy running. But I don't know, it's that would scare me so bad if that happened to me. But it's, I I mean, it could be anything. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to hypothesize on what it was because it could be a lot of different things. Who really knows? But I would almost hazard a guess say it was a spirit, like just a spirit. I mean, some might say a jinn, some might say a demon, or but I've also been told many times that there actually is no such thing as demons, that they're just bad spirits,
sure.
just spirits who want to be bad because they're bad in life. So, but then again, I've also been told demons exist and that people have encountered them. So I am always torn on that one. That's a topic I really can't really break down too much and be like, it definitely exists or definitely doesn't. It's just
Right.
there's so many. I've heard so many experiences from people both ways. So who knows? I mean, whether it was a demon or a bad spirit, I would definitely say that's what it was, whatever you want to call it. That's what it was, and why it came through, I couldn't tell you. I don't. I doubt you could even tell me why it came through. But
No, like I said, electronics were all off. They were obviously still plugged in. There was signal to them, hence why something was able to come through physically because there was power to them. But I I could not tell you. It never happened again. It had never happened since. It was a one time incident. So
yeah, it's strange, definitely. I mean, is there to play the skeptic here? Even though I hate doing that, is there possibly it was like some delayed sound coming out of the game after it was off, even that was just stuck in the wire somewhere? I mean, I know I never had that happen personally with all the video games I played in my life, but who knows? It's
I
possible, I
wouldn't
guess.
think so based on the fact that it had been off for a considerable amount of time, and
Oh,
obviously
okay.
modern technology, I don't think it can get stuck like that. I mean, certainly
Oh,
it's
okay.
a
I
possibility,
thought
but
I
we're
thought
talking probably like at least 30 minutes it had been off, if not hours.
oh. Okay, I thought it was like more like you just turned it off to go to bed at that point or something.
No, I
But
have had that happen where obviously kind of the old systems would lag and they would spit out after, but no, this was considerably later.
I mean, yeah, nothing scarier than laying in bed and just hearing "It's a me, Mario." Like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
that'd be freaky as shit. But uh, yeah, I mean, that's just something. That's something evil. I mean, especially if it's a guttural language like that instead of like English or something similar. Like it to be guttural. I don't know. That's creepy.
Right. Like
Yeah.
it had a very similar tone to like hard metal, like death metal, like that kind of tone, and obviously words I could not
Ah,
in a language I'd never heard. So kind of just a not painting a picture since it's sound anyway, but kind of get that kind of vibe from it.
I
Very deep
I
and
listen.
guttural. Yes.
I listen to a lot of that by sometimes by choice, sometimes by force, but I listen to a lot of that. So it's. I mean, I could picture it. I could definitely picture it. But so let's dive into your UFO experience. I'm dying. This is the one I've been waiting to hear because I love a good UFO experience.
Sure. And this one, it was quick and easy. I remember it was back in high school, obviously. Well, not obviously, but it was back in high school, probably junior year. So we're talking like 2012, 2013 ish, that period. And I'm outside waiting for the bus because I think it had been after I had a car accident, so I wasn't driving again just yet. And I look up and I kind of see just like a cylindrical shape of light. It's very high up in the air, but it's very broad and wide. It's faint, but like it's very clearly a ring. And I looked down the way, and then probably 150 yards down, another smaller one, but very clearly a ring, but just faint. And then I went inside to grab something and came back out, and it had dissipated. So I mean, I don't know that it was UFO. I had never seen light act like that, and it was very early morning. So
Huh. Interesting. I mean, I fully believe it because I've heard plenty of similar stories in my time of different UFO sightings and on this show and others. And it's just, I mean, where I live, Massachusetts, like this road I drive back and forth to work every day, literally, like you look up at the sky anytime when it's light out, and you have a chance of seeing something. Like it's just a very UFO heavy area, a lot of traffic going through these skies around here, and I mean, some say it's the one of the metals that's in the mountains here that they like to use it for fuel, but I truly don't know. I'm not sure why they like it here so much. I mean, it also is a Bigfoot hotspot to some degree, so
sure.
maybe the two are related. I mean, I
There is
hate
that
saying as much
theory
as I,
that Bigfoot is an ET. So I mean, there is a chance. But yeah, this
yeah,
again, it was one of those phenomenon, just like the one with the voice coming through the speakers. Never
yeah,
since then, never before then. It was so distinct in its shape. That's what bothers me. Like if it was light, if it was sun rays coming through clouds, I could kind of understand that. But we were talking
yeah.
like early morning where the sun wouldn't have been overhead; it still would have been kind of across the horizon. So it was just a very strange instance that it was so defined in its shape.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. I mean, most of the ones I see, most of the ones I believe I've seen at least are just like almost classic UFO style, like the saucer designs. Sometimes I see ones that look like teardrops or water drops, like that type of
Hmm.
thing, but or the upside down triangle type thing. But it's, I mean, I've never seen light ones. That's the thing. I never, if I see them at night, I usually don't know unless I'm staring at the sky for a while because they're not close enough to like really make out even. You only know because it's not moving like a star or moving unlike a star, I should say. But
Right. I, to me, it was like you see kind of the pop culture where the UFO is straight overhead and it sends the beam of light down. That was kind of the vision of that, right? So it kind of looked like that. So it was overhead, whatever tractor beam or whatever, like in pop culture, when they send that down and it starts yanking stuff up, it was that shape and the light profile match, something like that.
yep, I mean it makes sense. I mean, it really does. It's I always wanted to see one at night and actually like have it close enough where I can make it out, but most of the ones I see are just when I'm walking my dogs and stuff, and I could tell it's not a plane, not a helicopter, and it's moving. Like
Right.
the first time I ever saw UFOs back like 7 years ago. Literally saw like a pot of them, like a group of them moving in formation, like in the sky. Like it was kind of creepy. Like, and it was definitely wasn't a plane or planes or anything like that. It was way too far away to be planes, and they were just small, round, light objects, but they were just all moving in formation across the sky. And like my son actually pointed them out at that point. I looked up in the sky, and I'm like, at first I was just like, oh, those are just stars. I look up like, no, they're not.
Right.
No, they're not. There's no way in hell those are those are stars. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Are you more of a believer in the extraterrestrial theory or the ultra-terrestrial theory, if you know what that is?
Uh, I've never heard the ultra terrestrial. I'm assuming that is interdimensional or something.
Yes, you're 100% right.
That would be my guess. I just based on what I've read and studied as far as space goes, it doesn't seem plausible that it is from another planet from someplace far away. It would make more sense that it is interdimensional because I just recently read a report. I think it was like Pop Science or Pop Mechanics, and they talked about this new theory where it's just not likely that there's intergalactic travel because at some point you have to decide, hey, I'm going to put this over the needs of my current society and as far as resources. So they said most people say, "Hey, we're going to take care of our society and make that better," versus building these giant contraptions. They were talking about the hydron or the particle colliders would have to be the size of from here to like the moon and bigger. It's just like it's not feasible. They don't believe. So I'm like, I don't think it's feasible that it's intergalactic. I can't say that it's not, but extra dimensional would make more sense.
I kind of fall in the middle, especially with things I've been told that, I mean, I believe a lot of them, I believe, if anything, 90% of them are ultra-terrestrial um, species, and they just pop through dimensions, pop back in when they want to go back, disappear again, which is why they can hide so easily when we're looking for them.
Hmm.
But I also have been told and believe that there are some in our galaxy and some, well, not some in our, well, actually, some in the Milky Way, I should say, some in the Milky Way, and there are some in our solar system even, and that there are some that are close enough that they could technically travel through space and not have a problem with it. It's not light speed type travel. It's just we're gonna be here for a while travel, like basically like us going to freaking Mars or even Pluto, but just they have the technology to make it faster because they can. But so it's I believe it comes from both, honestly. I mean, I've been told, for example, that the Greys are local. They are very, very local, and that's why they've been in our culture and our society for so long.
Sure. I'm not. I have not been presented with enough evidence either way to say it can't possibly be intergalactic, but I lean more towards the ultra versus the inter. But like I said,
I mean, like I said, 90% of them probably are ultra-terrestrial. I
yeah.
100% believe that. So I know, folks, I'm throwing a lot of percentages out there. It's one of those nights. But it's, I don't know. And do you think that these ultra/extraterrestrials helped start humanity? Or are you more along the lines of like a evolutionary type person?
It's hard to say. I think I think we were on our way and maybe we got a jump start that accelerated the process. If I had to say yes, they were involved, that would be my inclination that things were kind of moving. They were moving pretty slow and they said, "Hey, let's add some juice to this." And it really started accelerating the process.
See, that's always been more my theory as well. I swear to God, we are very like-minded. That's always been my theory as well, to some degree. That, I mean, I've been told different by a lot of people, but it's still my theory that we had to be some kind of creature before they came
Hmm.
along, and yeah, they basically did like every comic book says different species did at some point or another and came and started experimenting on humans because they could, and we were basically apes, so why wouldn't they? And I think at that point I think that was what they call evolution. I think what they call evolution actually was that, like us getting a jump start by extraterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials, whatever you want to call them. But I truly believe that was our kind of our evolution. That's when we stopped being mindless apes and started being able to think for ourselves.
Sure. And that
So
would make sense as far as why we haven't found that quote unquote missing link in the fossil record. Like we've looked around where it should be and it just hasn't cropped up. So if there was a jump start there that gave us a bigger jump from the proto-human ape type to more the modern human, and then I guess it would have been Neanderthal then human, but that gap there that we haven't been able to fill in, it would certainly make sense that there was an outside force at play that made that jump.
which kind of brings me by, well, since you're a since you're a savant of ancient societies, what's your theory on Atlantis?
Existed, yes. Was it as advanced as implied? Maybe, maybe not. But the fact that we do have ancient literature where it's there, I believe it was a place. I assume probably what happened was a big tectonic shift that caused it to go under. I mean, we know that sea levels have risen at least 400 feet in quote unquote recent times. So it would make sense that somebody that was just kind of on sea level would get soaked up. And again, we have it in the ancient literature. It was a place, just like we did think that Troy was really a place out of obviously the Trojan War. But and then we ended up finding evidence later on that said, hey, this was a place. So I think we're kind of in a situation there where it just has not been discovered. Is it this underwater living society right now? No, I think it was probably an ancient society and some kind of catastrophe put it under the waves. But I do believe that it was a real place that could have been visited at the time.
See, here's the thing. Well, a couple different things in there I would touch on a little, but is highly believe that extraterrestrials / ultra-terrestrials had something to do with Atlantis, and that's why it was so advanced, is because that was like their main area where they were experimenting on humans, and they created a super advanced society.
Sure.
I also I've had two Atlantis researchers on the show. One of them believed that him and his partner found Atlantis, but it wasn't just a city on the sea. It was its main city was in the deserts of Africa, or was now a desert. It wasn't a desert then, but it's what is now a desert of Africa,
Okay.
and it had a lot of cities it ruled, a lot of city states,
Sure.
and basically one of them may have been on the sea, and that's where that whole legend might come from.
Right.
But that but that's what I mean. That's kind of where I formed my hypothesis, because I actually talked to a researcher of it, and he believes he found it. So I mean, that episode's been out for a while now. You probably would have to find that. You probably have to go on my YouTube, because of my Spotify. I had to change feeds at one point. All my old episodes went freaking bye, which sucked. I could upload them all again, but that would take a lot of fucking time I don't have. But
Right.
I'd have to freaking get the audio from all the videos, and then freaking upload it, and redo all the titles and descriptions, and it'd be such a pain in the ass. But yeah, I mean, that's where I believe it came from. I believe it was a society that the extra/ultra terrestrials definitely were working in more than anywhere else, and I think it just kind of disappeared with time. They got destroyed. They got killed off by neighboring nations, basically. Eventually, the army of Atlantis wasn't good enough, and then it just got taken. And then it got ruined and left in time, and time covers it. Especially in what became a desert, it would get covered. So it makes 100% sense to me. But
Yeah, I mean that
I
would make sense. Again, we have not found that evidence, so again, I can't draw a 100% conclusion on what it would be, but that would make sense. Just if I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure it was Plato, right? That mentions Atlantis. He talks about being past the Strait of
yeah, it was Plato.
Gibraltar, which would put it just out past the coast by, Portugal. Because obviously the Strait of Gibraltar is what the strait between Africa and the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah,
So,
which would put it right by Egypt, which apparently the Atlanteans and the Egyptians had a lot of history together. So, but
I have heard that as well. Yes, that there was a lot of intermingling there. I mean, and who knows?
that's
Who
all.
knows? Were the Atlanteans the sea people that wiped out the Minoans on Crete, or was it vice versa? Maybe the sea peoples wiped out Atlantis and they weren't good enough. I mean, that since we don't know
I
what
mean,
the hell was going on with those guys.
it's also possible. It's also a theory that the Egyptians are the ones who wiped out the Atlanteans, or that a combination of the Egyptians and the Greeks armies together might have done it,
Sure.
because they were scared. They're scared of this highly advanced nation. So I mean, I don't know. I really don't. I really don't know what to think of it. It's interesting. It really is. I mean, it's always a hot topic of debate. I always love talking about it on my show, because Atlantis is just very interesting. It's just such a good topic. But
Yeah, for sure. Even if
well,
it's not this advanced civilization, was helped along by extraterrestrials or ultra terrestrial. I mean, I still think it's fascinating, right? Because it's this ancient civilization is lost, and hey, now we found again. What can we learn from them?
exactly. I mean, which maybe someday we will find the ruins of it and be able to do more with it. But until then, we just have to speculate and wonder, and that's the fun part of it all.
Right.
But we did mention something earlier about a missing link, and that only leads to one topic, and I gotta bring it up. I'm dying to hear, because you look similar to me. We got similar minds. What do you think about Bigfoot?
Oh boy. Oh,
There are no wrong answers on this
I know
show,
there's.
so
I know, but it's tricky. I would what I want and what I really think are not the same thing. What I want is, yes, we haven't found it yet. I think that'd be super fun. But my guess is a primate creature that used to be around, and due to whatever circumstances it be being hunted down or just changes in climate, is no longer with us today. Again, I would love to be proven wrong. I think if it were really there, the world is only so vast, and we know he's not hanging around underwater. So there's only so much landmass for him to be on, unless you partake in the thought that he is an extraterrestrial, or then he's popping up into space. But as far as the landmass, I know we haven't covered all of it, but the likely places that it would be, we've combed them pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because we are once again kind of like-minded. I mean, I grew up a huge lover of the Gigantopithecus theory that it
Hmm.
was a missing link called Gigantopithecus, and that it was killed off by humans, or so that was thought, and that's what became a Bigfoot
Yep.
because it's learned to hide from humans because humans are bad, as we all know. But as I started doing this show, my opinion has changed dramatically because of the guests I've had on and the information they've had to share. And I've heard enough Bigfoot sightings in the last 20 years alone to make me believe it's still fucking out there. There's no way it's not out there with the amount of sightings that I've heard and the maps they have of sightings in the last 10, 20 years. Oh my God, they're so dense across the whole United States, basically, except Hawaii. So it's definitely still out there. I, which kind of brings me to this point that I have heard a lot of theories, a lot of theories that is ultra terrestrial, which
Right.
would, as much as I fucking hate saying it, makes the most sense. I hate admitting that, but it is the most logical solution to this issue. Is that, well, not this issue, to most logical solution to this question is it's ultra terrestrial, and that's why there's always UFOs around it,
Hmm.
and that's why it can disappear when it wants to disappear, and not just behind. It can't just hide behind trees and rocks and hope we don't see it. Like it has to go somewhere. When supposedly they've been shot by hunters over the years, and when they go back to find the bodies are completely vanished. No bones, nothing. They've buried the bodies, and when they go dig up the hole, there's nothing in it,
Yep.
which makes me think ultra terrestrial because it has to go. It's going back to where when it dies, it must go back to where it came from. It must be some kind of psychic, not psychic, but physics rule or some kind of just nature rule where it would go back to the dimension it came from when it dies. Maybe if we die in an alternate dimension, we come back to this dimension and die. Who knows? I mean, it's highly possible. I'm not going to say, I can't say either way, like you keep saying, I can't say either way, whether it's true or not. I have no proof of it besides what I've heard. And what I heard, what I've heard points to that. So I can't really didn't dismiss it one way or another. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
Sure. I mean, that theory, like you say, it makes the most sense if we believe that it is a physical creature and it is landlocked, so it's not heading out into the ocean. And we've looked in all the places where it should be, and we can't find it. So if these sightings are true, and we tend to believe they are, then it must be obviously being taken someplace else where it's not just hiding out in the caves, out in the woods. It's being is there at the for the moment, and then is not there. So that's about the only logical conclusion you can come to there.
Now, on the other side of the coin, I'll say this relatively quick so we can move on to a different topic. But I was recently just told by Leslie and Stephen Shaw, uh, paranormal investigators, and Stephen is a third generation UFO abductee. So they're very informative on a lot of these different topics. And apparently there was just a scientist in California or Oregon, somewhere around there in the last year or two, and she apparently found some kind of urine and some kind of hair that she cannot line up with any known mammal. So, are we this close to proving there's something out there? Yes, we are. Does the government already know? Yes, they do.
Of course,
They've
they
known
know.
for they've
It's just
known
whether they decide to share that information.
They've known since fucking Teddy Roosevelt, but at least, if not sooner. I'm pretty sure Lewis and Clark wrote about it in their original manuscript. But it's they've known. It's just like you said, they're not going to tell us. My famous line on this show is, "Wait till the next pandemic, and then that's going to be what they reveal." Instead of UFOs, it's going to be, "Oh, guys, ignore this and Bigfoot's real, yay!"
Right.
Like that's exactly what the government's going to do, because it's just going to be, "Yeah, Bigfoot's real. Sorry, we lied to you. What do you expect? It's us." Like it's like finding out your parents telling you there's no such thing as Santa Claus. It's just like it's like you dicks. But it's I don't know. So it's definitely something out there. That's all I can say is there's definitely something. It's not those people out there that still say, "Oh no, Bigfoot's made up. There's no such thing." I don't know how they can say that. I really, I'm like you. I've had people say it to me, and I'm like, you must not be that bright, huh? Like really? Like a few brain cells missing there? Because you could not even be into the paranormal, and you're going to read something about Bigfoot eventually in the newspaper or in the news on Google, I guess now, or on Facebook. You're going to see something because there's always something. I before I even was into the paranormal, I used to see like newspaper articles or magazine articles about Bigfoot when I was a kid. Like it's just always been around. Just now there's a lot more people talking about it, and that's why there's more people willing to admit they've seen it nowadays. Because you're not cuckoo if you've seen it nowadays. You're pretty much normal at this point if you've seen it. But
Right. But that raises the notion, or I guess it raises the matter of what it is, right? If it were just an undiscovered primate species, why would that matter if the government discloses it, right? That's not going to shake up our worldview. If it is extraterrestrial, then that would very much shake up our worldview and our perception on what it means to be human or alive, etc. So that kind of lends credence again to the fact that it's not just an undiscovered primate species running around. There is something more to that.
I mean, well, to play devil's advocate, if it was an undiscovered primate, what would all the idiots in the world want to do if they announced that it was real? You would have thousands upon thousands of people in the woods with guns, and some of them probably drinking, because why not? And it would end in catastrophe. It'd be a lot of people getting shot and dying, getting injured. So it'd be you have so many, and excuse my terms here, folks, but you have so many literally crazy rednecks out there that the second they find out this thing is real, would be hunting it nonstop to try to be the first to catch it.
Sure, but I understand there would be an uptick there, but that's not that crazy. The deer season out here, you got people running around the woods hunting for those, and there's plenty of them to go around. So I realize, yes, that would drive interest and that would lead to more activity in that sector, but I don't know that that's as huge of a shakeup to our worldview as, like I said, extra or ultra terrestrials would be.
Uh, and I mean, there are also other theories of like, what if Bigfoots are working with the government somehow? What if they're intelligent enough that they actually can communicate with government people who have been trained to communicate with them through maybe sign language, or maybe they learned a way to get their dialect of grunts and roars. But if that's true, then that's exactly why they wouldn't want them found. Because what if they're watching humans for the government? What, like, I mean, this is a far fetched one. I've heard this theory though, and it always makes me think: what if that's why they're so good at hiding? What if they took advantage of the fact that they're good at hiding and they use them to watch humans, like in remote areas where they can't watch humans because there's no cameras, especially nowadays. So what if they're part of the Men in Black, or what if they're part of some other society of humans that, I mean, who knows? It's a far-fetched theory, like I said, but it's another possibility of why the government wouldn't want you to know about it.
Sure.
I mean, with the government, you don't doubt anything. You don't until I can see the Book of Secrets myself. I don't doubt anything, and even I'm pretty sure if they hand me it, it'd be a lie. I'm pretty sure it'd be a fake one, but
Right.
still.
There are a little bit of hints and truth in there, but then they got the real one that's got everything in it.
Oh, I'm sure the real one the president can't even see.
Probably
I'm
not.
sure the real I'm sure the real one can only be seen by like the highest brass in the military, and I don't know, maybe it's Illuminati slash Freemason thing. Who knows? I mean, maybe it's just something that's been passed down since the beginning of this freaking nation, like a book of secrets that gets added to, and is just not even the president can see it though, unless he's part of the society. But who knows? It's possible. I,
Certainly.
I was so intrigued in that freaking I'm gonna forget what it's called. But in that Nicolas
National
Cage movie, I
Treasure.
was so yeah, and that, thank you. In the second National Treasure movie where he actually was looking for the Book of Secrets, like I was so amazed by that idea. Like as a kid, it blew my mind. Like, what if there
Hmm.
is? Like, I mean, there has to be, because the new president always meets the old president the first day of their term, and they have a meeting and they pass information along.
Right.
So that's I would assume that's part of that meeting. Is this is the book of things you're allowed to know, but you're not allowed to tell anybody about.
I'd
So
believe it.
I definitely would think I wouldn't put it past the government. That's for damn sure. But I don't know. But well, we are almost near the end. But there was something I thought about for this show because I know you're into conspiracies too.
All
So
right.
I had I had to ask: are you a flat earther?
No. 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 I said I
I
am
had
very open minded to some things. That is not one of them. I'm like, I I just don't see how that's possible. Again, you can prove I could be proven wrong and I could look silly. That's just not one that I put much credence into. I'd put more credence into the ice walls than I would flat Earth, and those are kind of hand in hand.
very in hand, and I mean, yeah, I constantly make fun of flat earthers. I'm just like I can believe in 96% of the conspiracies out there to some degree. Flat Earth, I can't believe to freaking the negative degree even. Like it's just so not possible. It's we have pictures. You can see it's a globe for fuck's sake
Hmm.
if you go to space. Like Jesus. Oh well, it's a matrix. It's a simulation. It's not really what you see. Oh, shut the fuck up. Like it's no. I believe the world could be a matrix. I really do. But guess what? The planet we live on, whether it's in the Matrix or not in the Matrix, in real life, is a globe. It is a circle. It is not
Yep.
flat. You're not gonna sail off the end of it on your boat. Like, no, I'm sorry. It's not the way it fucking works. It sets me off when people. I've rarely ever get to talk to flat earthers. Probably a good thing, but I really get to talk to flat earthers. But I'm just like, what did they do to you as a child to believe in this? Like, Jesus. Like it's just one conspiracy I cannot get behind. Like, so I had to ask because it's such a hot topic right now. Like it's been a hot topic for years now
Sure.
more because some celebrities are getting behind it. I'm like, this has got to be a publicity thing. It's got to be. There's no
Oh
way in
yeah.
hell there's no way in hell you really believe that. No way in
As
hell.
with all our modes of transport, either sailing, we've proved it that way. We got airplanes, we've proved it that way. We're up in space, we've proved it that way. It's just like there's no way you can spin it that yes, it's flat.
Yeah, it's just there's no way. There's no way. But let's talk about another conspiracy that actually is probably very somewhat true. Have you heard of this? If so, what do you think of it? The Pizzagate conspiracy.
I have not. That is a new one for me.
Yes, I love new ones. Well, short and sweet because it's not really a long one to explain. And I first heard of this. I always have to say this. I first heard of this from Macaulay Culkin on Bunny Ears podcast, and he brought it up, and I've looked into it since then a lot, and it's very well believed. But well, I wouldn't say very well, but it's well believed by a lot of people, especially nowadays. Actually, in the last 3 4 years. But there is a pizza place in Washington D.C., a few blocks from the White House.
Okay.
It is highly believed that there is a tunnel in the back of this pizza place underground that goes into the White House, into a secret entrance in the White House somewhere. And people believe that it was during the Clinton administration that they used to sneak in underage girls that way.
Oh, I think I've heard something similar to this where they're
And
ordering like pizzas and hot dogs or something.
there was
Or is that a
I don't know what
variation of it?
maybe a variation of it. I never heard the hot dog part, but now I'm intrigued. But um, but basically, emails were found between Hillary Clinton and somebody that worked for the government, and there was lines in there like, "Oh, I got a 12-inch cheese pizza, ready, hot and ready to go," like in like similar lines like that. Like I don't know
Yeah,
the exact.
I have heard similar instances now that you're mentioning that, because I think, to relate back to more present thing, I think Diddy parties, they were ordering pizza and hot dogs. Obviously, pizza underage girls, hot dogs are underage males. So
Yeah, baby, 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 oil. That's all I can think when I think of Diddy now. But it's I mean, and since the whole Epstein thing dropped a few years ago during COVID, and there's a lot of pictures out there of Bill and Hillary Clinton with Epstein.
mm-hmm.
So this this may go back to Epstein. This may go back to a lot of different things because there's been societies that have been into this since the beginning of the world, basically, unfortunately. But
Right.
it's just this conspiracy is just it's one of like I do a conspiracy bracket on the show as a special that people run through, and there's like 6 on there that Hillary Clinton's like directly involved with. It's just like what the fuck? Like, how? How are you involved in so much shit? Like, do you
And,
just
you know, I
not?
would buy most of them because I genuinely think she is an evil person. There's few people I would say they are absolutely evil. She's up there, and I may catch flack for that, but I just can't with her. And
This is not for me. I think she's right. I think she's a damn reptilian, but personally, but it's Pizzagate. I mean, do you think it's possible? Do you think this tunnel idea conspiracy is possible?
I would definitely say it's possible. Is it likely? I don't know, but it's definitely possible. Especially, we know a lot of the early American architects, they did do a lot of very deliberate design and tunnels. I think Boston has a lot of like underground tunnels and very deliberate architecture and design as far as cities go. So that would not surprise me if this place that is now a pizza place is connected to the White House. Not that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Whether it's used for those nefarious deeds, I would be a little less certain about that, but
See, that's the thing. I could see this being like an emergency escape tunnel originally, and that's
mhm,
what it was built for. Is to get if the case was an emergency, it gets the president out of the White House in case the White House under attack or something, which could happen technically. But I think did certain presidents use it for other nefarious means? Probably. A lot of presidents have had dark sides that we don't know about or that we do know about. I'm sure Nixon used it for things that weren't exactly kosher, but
sure.
it's fucking Nixon. But and I'm sure a lot of other people did too. I mean, who knows? It's when you're the highest power in the fucking country, you pretty much get away with whatever the fuck you want because no one that's smart is gonna go run their mouth on you because they know what the consequences could easily be.
Probably not. I mean, they'd
Because
have
I
to have
mean,
some real assurances from the other powerful people around here that nothing's going to happen to them. Most likely, if they're that powerful, they're all in line with the other powerful people. So,
exactly. If you go squeal on Hillary's Pizzagate, you're gonna be part of Spygate, and that's a whole nother fucking conspiracy.
right.
That's not even really a conspiracy anymore. That's been proven so much now. That's not even really a conspiracy. It's just spies and fucking government shit. At this point, it's a fucking Mission Impossible movie come true. But oh god,
Which that's a surprise to nobody. I mean, we've had spies and espionage for so long now. I mean, thousands of years at this point. So, to say that our current government, or our current era government, wasn't partaking in that, it'd be silly to say that they don't.
yeah, I mean, it'd be naive, very naive to say that spies and all this secret stuff doesn't exist. It'd be naive of it because there's always more than you can see on the surface. Always more. But speaking of more than you can see on the surface, we'll talk one last conspiracy before we wrap it up for tonight.
All right.
Because you mentioned the ice walls, and that made me think of another conspiracy theory. What do you think about Hollow Earth theory?
Oh boy, I would believe it over flat Earth if that helps. Uh, I don't know that it's super likely, but as I think it's more likely than flat Earth. I think there could be because we kind of know what's going on in the earth, but we don't know exactly what's going like real deep in there. So to say that there is a whole new biome as like in Journey to the Center of
Lost World.
Earth or King Kong or
Yeah.
any of those, I don't know if I would go that far, but I would say that there are things below the surface that we aren't 100% knowledgeable about.
Well, the things. Here's my thing with Hollow Earth. I'm 100% a full believer in it, and it doesn't have to be like a lost land of the lost type
Sure.
situation for to be that's what it means. The way I see it is, especially in North America, but all over the world, but especially in North America, there are cave systems that run throughout the country.
Hmm.
Nobody has ever gone into one of these cave systems, and in modern times at least, and completely traversed it. Without they've tried, but you you would need to plan years in advance and have packs throughout this cave the whole way through every so many miles to actually be able to survive it because you would starve before you came out the other end if you had
Right.
no food on you or if you had no and you don't know what's in there so you got to be prepared anyway but there's these cave systems and then there's the missing 411 just a collection of people missing that
Hmm.
went to disappeared in nature and they overlap if you look at a map they overlap a lot so and there are a lot of cryptids on this earth that we can't explain. What if these three things are all fucking connected? What if these caves are where cryptids call home? What if it's where I mean I'm sure they venture out obviously because we see them,
Right.
but what if this is where they call home? What if this is where they raise their cryptid families because they have to breed, otherwise you wouldn't see them anymore. And what if this is why people go missing in nature near these cave systems because they're basically in feeding grounds? And maybe that's part of the reason the government doesn't really look too hard for missing 401 people from what I've seen. So, I mean, their family may, their friends and neighbors may look for them for a long time, but I think these creatures are also smart enough not to make a fucking stupid scene and kill hundreds of people and just get caught. Like,
Sure.
no, like you got one, let it go, wait till they all disappear and then come back out. So I mean, the Native Americans used to traverse these caves as spiritual quests and come out the other side. So it's who knows what's really down there because the Native Americans dealt with a lot more cryptids and talked to them supposedly and traded with them supposedly, especially Bigfoot. So, and I've also heard a paranormal investigator tell me stories that he investigated. Well, not stories. Tell me claims he investigated that dragons were coming out of mines in Pennsylvania. So, who's to say what's in these caves? And who's to say that's not what Hollow Earth means? Is that the Earth is hollow in a lot of places, and then it's deep hollow, but
Right.
it's just
I could buy that.
places places we never really investigated before that we really just haven't had a chance to get to yet. And because it's probably all these caves are deep in wilderness. They're not like on the side of the road. You have to walk a long way through the woods to get to them. So or through a valley or something. But I mean I believe Hollow Earth. I honestly think it's one of my most believed conspiracies because it would make so much sense on things we can't explain all adding up.
Sure.
But
I can buy that. But quickly on that point, is it the Navajo people that have their creation story is like, hey, they were, or maybe it's their creation, or maybe it's just who they interacted with, like the ant people that lived under the ground and then came out, and that became the Navajo. I'm not willing to say that's exactly the tribe. I do know that there is in the Native American tribe where that is one of their ancient stories.
the only Native American Christian story I really know is because I'm from New York. So the one that they teach about the tribes in New York is
Hmm.
the the world's a turtle. So
Okay.
that's the only creation story by Native Americans I really know off the top of my head anymore. I used to know a lot more when I was a kid, but I haven't read a Native American folklore book in a long, long time. It used to fascinate the crap out of me when I was a kid, though. But
Okay.
yes.
It looks like it's the Hopi Indians, not the Navajos.
Oh,
So
that actually that makes sense.
that's what it's looking
And
like with a quick Google search. That it's the Hopi, not the Navajo people. Apologies to the tribes. I'm not. That's not my area of expertise. My concentration is European history. So,
which we all know what European history did to Native American history, but
well, yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The Hopis have a lot of beliefs there in the paranormal realm, so that's 100% makes sense. But who knows? I mean, who really knows? Unless we invent time machines and go figure this shit out ourselves, we're never gonna know.
Sure.
But Andrew, where can people find you if they want to hear more of what you believe, or if they want to hear more of the thing you're expertise in?
Sure. My online presence is not great, but I am in the process of launching my own podcast called Echoes of Myth and Mystery. You can find that on YouTube. There's nothing posted there yet, but there will be soon. And you can find me on X at Echoes of MM. Again, these are all in the startup phase, but that will be the main social hub and where to find out more about what I think and more about this show going forward. We're looking to launch hopefully around the end of this year, beginning of next, but it's coming soon.
Well, there you go, folks. Honestly, by the time this episode releases in podcast form, that they may have started. So I will make sure if they did to put the link to the Spotify in the description so you all can go check it out. But it's very possible. And of course, I will. I'll put one of his pages at least in there so you can get to it. YouTube, probably the YouTube especially as well, so that it's when it does start getting uploaded, people can click on it and see the videos. But
Yeah, sure. The YouTube is currently there. The Spotify obviously is not set up yet. So
yeah, of course not. You need to record the first episode first for
exactly.
that. But folks, you all know where you can find me. If you don't, shame. But I live. It's in the outro for all you listeners and for all you watchers. All 14 of you this whole episode. Awesomeness. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So if you don't know by now, you're watching in one of the places you can find me. So there you go. I will be back next week with a couple more interviews, and then my hiatus begins. So I will see you all next week. Have a good weekend.